our second day in Stockholm before we go on our city tour. I see Matthias is out there cleaning the windows of our bus so that when we hit the road again tomorrow, we'll all be able to take some pictures through the windows better. This is inside the lobby of the Silja Line Hotel. Loading our other bus in Stockholm for our city tour.
Right is the Nordic Museum showing Swedish culture 400 to 500 years from middle of the century and back about 400 or 500 years. Walk along the water, which is possible. It's 16 kilometers. You can also rent here bicycles, rowing boats, sailing boats, and some sport activities, private owned boats. On that little half island peninsula on our right hand side, through the trees you can see two yellow buildings. We can go to yellow, play football in the spring, picnic, and many other activities. And 1/3 water and 1/3 streets and houses. If you look to your left a little bit, to the left but further to the right, now we passed it over, but then we could have seen the city center of Stockholm. There are far.
Har du bestämt dig höger?
Ja, vi tar höger. Ja.
Jag ska inte bestämma dig, jag tänkte...
Ja, nej, men vi kan göra det. And military domain during the 19th century. There was a lot of space here to build. We had many of our architects and artists overall going to Paris, to France in the 19th century, the latter part of the 19th century. And when they came home, they had so many ideas, especially the architects of the street architects. So they have planted 3 almost like boulevards on this part, or in this part of Stockholm. The other concert hall is the one where the Nobel Prize is given on December 10th every year. We call this the diplomatic village. The left, straight ahead, these belong to radio and television. And the state has monopoly on radio and television Swedish. Of course we have cable and parabol. Century on your left. Many marriages, different religions take place in this church. Of course the services are in English. So to have an apartment in Stockholm today, and many of these apartments are today are hotels or offices. You can Hamngatan och så åker vi... Nej, vi tar här nere. If you look at all these nice boats lying in the water, on the left side of the water are steamboats going out in the Stockholm archipelago. We have over 24,000. And here on our right hand side is the Royal Dramatic Theatre. I'm sure you heard about Ingmar Bergman. Ingmar Bergman is one of our most well-known directors. And we have on our right-hand side soon Sturegallerian, which is an elegant shopping gallery with 30-40 stores. Ja, vi tar rakt över så svänger vi där borta om vi kan. Here on your right-hand side where the flags are is this shopping gallery. We call them skyscrapers. You probably don't. There are 14 floors. These are the first skyscrapers of Europe. 1921 the first one was built. And when you look at Europe today, you cannot really understand that these were the highest buildings of Europe. And it's the place where the Nobel Prize is given on the 10th of December every year. And now you see a lot of modern buildings. And on our right-hand side, the 5 skyscrapers of the city of today. And to the right of us, it's all pedestrian area. And parallel to this road, you have the Queen Street, the Drottninggatan, which is 1.5 kilometers, 150 buildings, houses were taken down. They were all from 17th, 18th, 19th century. And the old house today, this was the seat of the parliament for over 10 years. And the old parliament had to be restored. And they had somewhere to head to at lunch hour. We're passing the Queen Street now. And you look to your right and you look to your left. A quick look right and a quick look to your left. This is the walking pedestrian area. Over to your left side was the last island to actually be really built upon. Kungsholmen is the industrial, or was the industrial island. It was far enough away from the old city, but I cannot imagine today, but there was so much more water between these islands. With the help of the dynamite of Nobel, we have all these 14 islands where Stockholm is built upon were hilly and woody, and with the help of the dynamite of Nobel, but also, of course, in early centuries, they used something similar to dynamite. It was more dangerous, but they had equipment or material to use. So all this material that was left over has been used to put into the water around the island. So most of the streets around the islands are filling in material, lying in the water. But again, City Hall, we have 2 city halls on this island. And the reason for this was that the first city hall was going to be too small for everything that should be included. So in this house, we have the police and the prison. Drottningholm Palace. Drottningholm Palace, where the royal family live today. Takes by boat about 50 minutes, but one can also go by car, then takes approximately 20 minutes. The island Södermalm is the biggest of the 14 islands, with about 95,000 inhabitants. Here it's a church, it's the Nobility Church, which is a mausoleum and a museum where our royal family are buried today. You see the golden crowns on top of the building. I thought maybe we go out into the garden for 10-15 minutes. And we have a view over the old parts of Stockholm.
But also in the Blue Hall on the 10th of December, the banquet of the Nobel Prize takes place. The rooms of representation of the building are around the inner yard. And between the 2 towers here in front of us, with the big windows, is what we call the Prince Gallery. It's a long room with the Prince Eugene. You know, if you remember, we took him over 3 years to design the room, which was fast. And the important thing, while building here, Sweden was poor, but they spent a lot of money on this building. And at the end, they had to ask the Stockholm people, beginning of the century in Sweden, to be able to put a roof on the building. So each Swedish family had to pay 25 Swedish crowns. And as thank you for this, under each tile there is a number 1, and in a guest book in the tower, a leather book, that is number 1, Family Anderson, number 2, Family Sandstedt. It was the Munich Brewery. Today it's a culture house with a lot of culture going on, theater, movie, dancing, and also local schools. But at the time, the brewmaster was rowing over the water with beer to the workers. They were from France, from Germany, from Italy, from Sweden. But as they didn't get much pay, and we didn't have enough food to feed them, the brewmaster was rowing over with his beer, and each worker received liter of beer per day. And going over the bridge, that is the lock between the Mälaren Lake and the Baltic on the other side. So this divides Stockholm in the middle. Go to the left, you see this beautiful church again with a spire, iron spire, which is the mausoleum and museum.
Different places along the Mälaren Lake. We have Drottningholm, where the family lives today. We have Mariefred, which is the southern part of Mälaren Lake, with an historical palace, Gripsholm. On the northern side of Mälaren Lake you have a bay going up to Uppsala and another palace called Skokloster. Like a channel or a river, it was a lake in the 18th century. Oh, just det. Still there are parts in the center of the city which are closed for traffic. For 9 days it's totally closed and it's chaos here with the traffic. And still there are some roads blocked. So we're taking this fast road from the city center over to Södermalm. But it's a beautiful road and we see quite a lot on the way. Government. Then you have the parliament with a glass around it, the surrounded part is the parliament. And this little house on our left is the smallest island of the 14th where Stockholm is built upon. And then in between you see the palace, and here on your left hand side is the nobility house with the two wings here, now on our left hand side. The nobility house was built in the 17th century and it took over 30 years to build. And it's one of the most beautiful Renaissance buildings we have in Sweden. All the houses by the water around the old city are standing on wooden piles. And then you have a look on your right, Mälaren Lake with the largest bridge of the 42 bridges of Stockholm, connecting the King's Island with Södermalm for the ceremonies, or just a plain apartment or a hall. We also have 3 synagogues in Stockholm. When we cross the street, have a look to your right. At the end, you see a bridge and a huge spheric building. It's called the Globe, and it was inaugurated '89 for the World Championships in ice hockey. Yes, but you look to your right, the white globe. Right hand side, you see a little wooden house between. Can you see it? Yeah. Are also preserved for the world after us. So this is the island where they have left a little bit more of these 17th century and 18th century atmosphere. So here you have a beautiful view over the city. And before we get off the bus to the palace, and for those who stay in the city and don't go back to the hotel, I would ask you to maybe for just a couple of minutes enter the cathedral. It's very beautiful inside. It's the oldest part of Stockholm, of the old city, built 1306. And then the 5th tower is the Clara Church, which was a convent. Also the nobility church was a convent up to the 16th century. But that 5th tower is in the city center, though it looks like it's just next to the palace. The palace is a little bit higher building with a green bandage around the fence at the top. Can you see that? Do you see the palace? Straight ahead, a little bit to the right, the 5th tower. Can you see it? Not really? And next to it you have the 5 high houses in the city center. You see those? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So to the left of them is the Nordic Museum, which we also passed. And this is Djurgården, all the way to our right, all the way as far as you can look. And further from the Nordic Museum to the right, by the water, the amusement park and the bluish construction. And up on the hill you see a building with a green roof and white walls. That is within the open-air museum Skansen. And then in the far back you have the television tower, Kaknäs Tornet. So, let's get. Can you see it sailing out? It's a Viking ship built. Have a Viking museum. We don't have that yet. We get one in 2 years. But this one is a taste of the coming era. And this is the only one in use. Oi. This is the only one in use today. It's an elevator going up, and there's a restaurant between the construction and the building. And this is from the mid-19th century, to 0.5%, and the Sweetwater Lake Mälaren on the left. So this is only for smaller boats, private boats, and the sightseeing boats. The bigger boats are going behind the island we just were on. And further over to the right, a kilometer away, there is an entrance to Mälaren Lake with high bridges, and one bridge you can open, the bigger boats entering. All palace. We will watch the change of the guards. And where the bus will let us off, this is where we meet the bus. If someone would lose its way and miss the group somehow, this is where the bus meets us to take you back to Hotel Ariadne, Stockholm, in the 13th century. Today, all the houses along by the water are standing on wooden piles, and this was built in the beginning of the 17th century. Then, because of the last ice time, 12,000 years before birth of Christ, this ice pressed Sweden down so far that it's still rising about 40 to 70 centimeters per 100 years. But in the last 1,000 years, this island has become 7 meters higher. The cathedral, built 1306, and there have been changes inside, but the last change was before 1480. So since then, inside, it looks the same. Meet the bus again at the latest 20 minutes to 1. 20 minutes to 1, at the latest we should be on board the bus. So we'll watch the change of the guards for about 20 minutes.
The changing of the guard from the second floor of the palace building. If I can see over the heads of all these people or not.
Då kommer vi till konsertdelen i väntan på att avlösningarna kommer tillbaka och att den sista delen av vaktlösningen kan fullföljas. Idag, som jag tidigare nämnde, så är det alltså flygvapnets musikkår under ledning av musikdirektör Jerker Johansson. Det är Jerker Johansson som kommer att dirigera under konserten och flottiljtrumslagare och som går i täten på musikkåren nu framför er. Flygvapnets musikkår kommer vid dagens konsert att framföra 3 verk. 2 av dessa är komponerade av den tyske tonsättaren Carl Neike. Han startade sin bana som 19-åring i tyska armén där han komponerade och blåste bandton. Hans marscher kännetecknas av kraft och svung. Först får vi lyssna till Borussia Marsch. Varsågoda, flygvapnets musikkår.
There's some of the shopping crew here in Old Town. After the bus went back to the hotel, we did a little shopping. From there we'll go to the subway. There's Orpha and Mary, some more of our shopping crew.
Okay.
There's some more of our shopping crew.
Now we'll have all together.
Our shopping crew. Happy shopping. We're getting closer.
Well, when I see 2 eyes, I think she can see.
Well, haven't you got 2 eyes? Well, again? I think she can see. I think you can too, can't you?
Here we're getting closer.
My first subway ride.
Are you having fun yet? Oh, get all the stragglers together. Did you make it? You only got a few more steps.
I don't know, Lydia.
You're the super duper subway woman.
There has been devastation in the provinces.
A hot air balloon
It's taken place. And
in the
government
background,
provide relief, trying to
looking
serve
out from our hotel.
those who have been trapped under rubble, and also provide relief. So there has been a lot of effort going on to bring some sort of relief to the areas struck by the earthquake.
communications down, roads, bridges, those kind of things. What more help do you need, and what are the problems you're encountering?
The first priority is
Tomorrow we'll travel on
try to save lives.
Oslo.
to Oslo.
And that still is the first priority.
Our last evening glimpse of the
Doctors,
bay here of the Celia terminal.
everything is necessary at this stage. But the government is well organized to cope with the situation and doing its level best. And we've had similar earthquakes in the past. We were able to address the wound situation.
What about the use of electricity?
Get on that bus and we'll be heading for Oslo.
Food supply lines are running thin. What do you need there?
This is the end result of what is more the international.
There's another balloon.
With solidarity with Turkey. We'll be receiving
Couple of them in the skyline.
experts, teams to cope with the situation.
Now, for instance, is an immediate
Cool.
Must be good weather.
pictures of the damage. It's very
Well,
clear that some buildings survived just fine, and then one or two,
One's really dipping down low. Gal, it's almost touching the water.
they must have been back.
You better give her some gas.
The government will have to look into to see whether the buildings that have come down because there was some.
Three of them.
But having said this,
You got a balloon rally coming?
I don't know. There's one there and one down below.
some buildings have come down.
One back there. Four of them. I haven't got a glimpse of the fourth one. There's just barely a glimpse right there of the fourth one. Well, kind of a balloon rally or whatever.
You better wait a while.
And international communities involved also, for which we are grateful.
Well, he's really close to the water.
At this stage, I've checked to see what was necessary.
These are gas.
The thing that was necessary and is being provided is rescue teams, search and rescue teams.
But the others are higher.
So today, 19 countries have
They'll
sent
follow this path.
totaling about 1,400 people. Most of them are involved in search and rescue.
Airplane right near
including corporate.
where that one balloon is.
We will be needing doctors,
There's the other one.
generators, water
And the one in the background there.
Tobacco. It must be tobacco balloon.
And in terms of
Well, one says Skyhawk, one says Bosch, something or other.
what
Cool. Look at that. One's almost touching the water.
You see, this is not something that anyone would want to.
The other ones are higher, but by golly, that
Maybe
one.
it's got pontoons on it.
Disasters are imminent.
I don't think
It
so.
happens everywhere. And we've had similar natural disasters in the past. We were able to,
Boy, just really getting down close to the water.
as a one, were able to address the wounds.
The others are all up higher yet.
We will do it again. And the more assistance and support we receive from the international community, the easier our job would be to accomplish what we want to achieve. But the Turkish nation has in the past been
Well, he give it a little gas, he come up.
such disasters, and we will begin coping with this disaster and
That's quite a scene.
How long is it going to take to